So we went to Magaluf. Spanish police kicked my door down and accused me of pissing over the balcony.
That's a bit over the top, isn't it?
I almost completely self-funded and created a documentary pitch. Me making a documentary about Harley having anxiety, and then during us making it, I was like, oh, I'm insane.
We were friends, best friends, and then all of a sudden we were colleagues, essentially.
Yeah. JADE is now doing solo music, thriving.
Yes, thriving.
Possibility of a little...
JADE and Rizzle Kicks.
Rizzle Kicks, a.k.a.
Yeah.
The Boys.
The Mando.
AKA The Boys. Let's go.
Welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's start right there.
Yeah.
You're back together.
Yeah.
You're out there. The single's out. How's it doing?
Javelin.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's hard to judge it these days in terms of
how does it even feel?
Well, when we were about, it was if you're in the charts, that was great. But now the charts are all dictated by completely different metrics,
streaming and that,
and TikTok and whatever. So it's hard to judge it on that level.
I think we wanted people just to care about the music and listen to it, and ultimately people who were fans of us before and are aware of us have been listening to the music. Just in general life, I've had people come up to me in the street and been like, "Oh, Javelin's great." So
that's nice.
That's a good parameter. That's a good barometer.
You announced it the same week. Is it right that Oasis announced before?
Yeah, that's the most important part of that.
It was
a week before.
Were you like, we've been thinking about doing this. These brothers have had.
We're the reason.
You inspired them.
Yeah.
We are the reason why Oasis returned. So
confident on that.
Were you just
as well.
really this week?
If they'd been announcing new music, that would have maybe been more of a gut punch, I think. The fact they're doing a nostalgia tour to, earn a bit of cash and then go back to hating each other, you know what I mean?
It's quite clear that they don't like each other.
I know.
So I kind of like...
How's that even going to... I feel like it'll get cancelled again.
I don't think it was.
No,
I've heard figures of how much money is being made from them, and it's crazy. So it'll never get cancelled. But I just couldn't imagine enjoying going to that, knowing that they actually don't really want to be there.
Nah, listen, it'll bang. If you're an Oasis fan, it'll bang. This has been years.
I don't know, but maybe that's just how I view music.
We've met the both of them, hilarious characters in real life. Noel, I've spent more time with probably than Liam, and they're legends, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to see.
It is really weird sitting with you two, right? Because I was saying to these earlier, I have this vivid memory burned into my psyche, not just because you were coming on, but it was Magaluf, I was in.
Brilliant.
Oh my God.
Brilliant. Already, we're cutting this out already.
There. You weren't actually there. No, I would, if you had been, I would have been...
We keep it in, we keep it in.
No, if you had been there, I would have been absolutely buzzing. So I feel like we're a similar age. I'm 32.
Yeah, I'm 32.
And I was getting ready with my friend in a room and we were listening to Dan with the Trumpets, but we hadn't even bought it, sorry.
You illegally downloaded it?
I feel like. And it was on we just kept restarting it and it wasn't the whole song, but we was obsessed with it. And now whenever I think of that holiday, I hear that song in my ears.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Rizzle Kicks makes you think of Magaluf.
Yeah,
that's
sorry.
so lovely.
I mean, I know that's not your aesthetic, but...
I'm really glad that this story didn't turn into... We saw you at Magaluf and
Nah, that could have gone left.
Were you out of here? Gone? What could the story involve if I had seen you in Magaluf? What would that look like?
What
the fuck do you mean, Olivia? You joking? Come on, you got memories of Maga. Whoa, what did you do in Magaluf? We went for a walk along the stream. Yeah.
Wait, were you doing gigs out there and stuff?
We did a few, yeah.
Yeah, we went
to... Is that what you call it?
Well, hilariously, here's a funny story.
Go on.
So we went to Magaluf because we were like, oh my God, let's go there early before we do our performance or whatever and just have fun. And so we went there, rented some shite hotel room, 2 shite hotel rooms, and then went along the strip. I don't know what we were expecting. Literally, I have no idea what we were expecting. I think we went to kind of try and see Bass Hunter or something like that. Harley ended up getting a migraine, so we called it a day quite quickly. Went
From
back
all
to
the lights and the...
Yeah, just what's happening? Which saved us,
just
I reckon.
Everything.
Then we went back to the hotel room at about 3 a.m. Spanish police kicked my door down and accused me of pissing over the balcony.
That's a bit over the top, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was like, I didn't piss on the balcony, I don't know. So they were kind of just running around looking at people. How do you find somebody who's pissed? Anyway, I was doing the science of it, I don't know. But yeah, and then we kind of looked at each other the next morning and were like, what is this? What's the point of this? And then eventually we did a show and we did return a couple of times, paid. Yeah, we're paid.
So I returned multiple times on my free will.
Yeah.
So what does that say about me?
That's fair.
Fine.
Yeah.
We did.
What was it about Magaluf that you loved?
Do you know what? I just love like a human cesspit. So like Iron Apple, Magaluf, anywhere like that. Like
did you do Zante?
Did Zante? I did them all. I did them all. I actually filmed a show in Zante this summer, and I went out on the strip one night.
Did you have a good time?
I had a fucking great time.
Did you? Really?
I had a great time. It was an absolute nightmare for everyone else involved.
Why?
Because obviously they're just trying to like. It's like with me. It's like herding a stray cat. They're just trying to keep me like on the road, like off the road.
Are you the
like,
party?
Yeah.
You're the party.
Right, okay.
I'm having fun.
Yeah.
Like I don't know about anyone
We
else.
do. To be honest, we do actually have. It's trash, but it's fun.
Yes,
and Mallorca
it's
Rock. We used to do
so-
Mallorca Rocks and Ibiza Rocks.
Yeah.
So you get through the two, and that was fun. And then we had some like very questionable club appearances. Other than that, great.
So you guys, the band went to great success. You were flying high, and then was it 2016? You decided to put it on like pause.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like you broke up, was it? No. You were like, just going to rest this for a minute because you both had a lot going on, different kind of stuff. Because I know, Harley, you were dealing with anxiety at the time, and Jordan, you were starting to realise that you were having a problem with substances and stuff like that. And did those sort of things happen at the same time? Like, how did that conversation play out?
The idea of us like taking a break.
On a...
It was more of like a moment for me personally where we played a show, like a festival, I can't remember what it was, but like it was like a great crowd, you know, lots of people and stuff, and I came off stage and I felt horrible, and I felt really horrible. I felt anxious. Before, like it was the whole day was like dealing with anxiety and racy thoughts, and I thought like, but it'll be fine afterwards, like after we performed. But I came off and actually felt more upset than when we came on.
So you thought the adrenaline will go and you'll just feel like relieved.
Yeah, but it actually just got worse, and I think that for me personally, that was the moment where I was like, this needs to just like chill for a minute, because we never got that chance to have a break, and we never had a chance to like just figure out our shit, you know, and having that break was probably the best thing we could have done for our mental health, for our friendship even, you know, for our families, it was, because a lot of these people, when they're young, they never get a chance to like just stop for a while. They just continue, and then, you know, a lot of them unfortunately like do struggle with severe mental health problems because they never have that chance to like get out of the limelight from an early age. Fortunately, we were like not, you know, addicted to the celebrity lifestyle and whatnot. So it was a no-brainer for me to be able to be like, I need to just take care of myself for a bit. And I think, you know, Jordan was in agreement as well.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't mean to become pop stars, really. We realised quite soon that it's like another job, you know. Yeah. We had this love for, you know, kind of this golden age hip hop, and we made it because we loved it. And Down With the Trumpets, which was our biggest and still is our biggest song, was produced by one of the producers, produced for Foreign Beggars, which are probably the biggest name in UK hip hop, that style of UK hip hop. So that was very much the kind of world we were living in. It was just, I guess, our age and, you know, our, I don't know, whatever aspect of our appearance is considered to be like marketable or whatever. We then found ourselves in this world where there were other artists that maybe didn't write all their songs, or maybe they were already understanding of the relationship between fans, the relationship, you know, smiling all the
like
time.
The game of it.
Yeah. Which and that's not saying that to undermine it. Like, it's actually a skill.
Yeah.
Like the pop stars we see every day, the ones who are actively engaging in the pop stardom, fandom, all of that, that takes a lot of you've got to be thick-skinned, you've got, you know, there's all these elements to it. Where I was way too sensitive to deal with that, which is how I think I ended up doing drugs. And Harley was actually grounding me for a lot of it, but it was when we started to battle with the pressure. I think for Harley, it kind of manifested as this, what ended up becoming a crippling anxiety. And for me, I was just running away from it, you know, chasing kind of addiction. So it was, we just thought it would be safer for us to grow up away from the spotlight, and then reapproach our individual passions with like a lot more of a grounded approach, you know, and create from a place of like love and well-being rather than like panic and pressure.
That sounds a lot better, doesn't it?
No, I know, but it's, you know, that
It's
is
a lot nicer, yeah. Like
we achieved more than we ever thought we could very quickly, you know.
You know, like I was saying this earlier too, but like things like this, for example, sitting down in a room like with people I don't know necessarily, and like in that time and like for the few years afterwards, like that, this would beyond terrify me to the point where it would be like debilitating. I'm in bed for like days beforehand, like
shit.
I can't get like it was proper like
you can't live like that.
No, and yeah, so but for me it's just so lovely just to like come here and it's just like I have no fear.
But it was so sudden as well, and it happened at a time where I also didn't have the tools to even understand what was happening. I've since done a lot of work in the mental health sector. I had a mental health campaign called I Am Whole that managed to reach a lot of people, and I've obviously written a lot now about heartbreak and stuff like that. But at the time, I was this manic, genuinely like completely. I can't like my logical, it's almost embarrassing to say this, but when Harley first started describing to me what he was going through, what I genuinely thought would be the way to help him was I once told him, why don't you sit down on a sofa and drink so much coffee that you like go, this is where logically where I was at in 2015, right? I was like, why don't you drink so much coffee that you couldn't be more anxious than that, so you know what the if you survive, I literally was like, if you survive that, there's no way you
give yourself a caffeine overdose, and then you'll be like, this is so bad. It can't never get worse than this.
Well, I mean, it's like exposure therapy in a way. Like there is method to the madness, but like that was
you trying to back him up.
I'm not even trying to back that. Obviously, I didn't.
But I didn't. But also, I didn't know. And actually, what's so funny is, around that time, I was so hyper productive. I really struggled to maintain relationships, friendships, because I was putting all my manic energy into production. I was like, let me make, you know. And so my response to the pressure of you know, making a third album, fourth album was like, we could do 5 albums, 6 albums, you know.
Yeah.
And then one of the things was I almost, that's actually quite cool, I forgot about this, but I almost completely like self-funded and created a documentary pitch about me investigating Harley's anxiety, and I actually sold it to Channel 4. They bought it as a 4-part series, and it was all stuff I shot on a GoPro. I recorded interviews with me and Harley. I edited it together. I put together the pitch. I went into Channel 4, won the pitch, like, which now, obviously you'll know as well, with the meetings that you got to go into in these spaces, that's quite wild.
Huge.
But then we started making it, and it was like me making a documentary about Harley having anxiety, and then during us making it, I was like, oh, I'm insane. Like, we're doing these interviews, and I was learning all this stuff, and I was like, wait, no, we've really got this wrong. Like, we both need to fucking chill.
This used to be the subject as well.
It never got made, mate. It never got made, so I was just like, fuck this.
That is so.
It made me feel like 10 times more anxious doing a documentary about anxiety.
Let me get over your anxiety about being stared at and scrutinised by filming you 24 hours a day.
by an also manic person who's unaware. Hey, how are you feeling about this, Harley?
That was a wild experience because, like,
shit.
Obviously, they saw a gap for that kind of journey because,
of course,
it would have been great. Actually,
it would have been. If it would like been, you know, worked out in the way that they thought it would, then it would have been great. Because I think I also experienced a lot of stage anxiety. That was a big thing for me, but I think for them the goal was like. They took me to the place where I first experienced like severe stage anxiety. I was like, what are you doing? This is horrible. Like, this is bringing back so much
great telly,
nasty emotions. And then I was like 20 times more anxious. And then, but like, obviously for them, the end goal was always like, oh, the episode will be like, he'll be performing again, he'll be over it.
It would have been, no, but honestly, it would have been good if, again,
it approached.
Yeah, if we had just been in a slightly different, and me as a budding documentarian had at least allowed a year of understanding of myself, going into it, or been prepared to flip it over. When I look at some of the clips, because we still know the guy who was helping us, the production company, he sent some of the clips over that he just found on a hard drive, and I'm just like, I can barely watch myself.
Really?
A little bit. Obviously, that's my own personal.
Did you know how you felt at that moment,
and you're like, extremely different, like. But I watch you and I'm like, that is not who I know anymore. And I look at me and I'm like, I'm so sad. I'm like so upset.
Yeah, you can tell by the
What's
whole.
so cool about you guys, and I think it's so rare, is when two people go on such like big journeys. I fucking hate the word journey, and I never say it in my documentaries, but I'm saying it now. Journey and self-discovery and all this stuff, and then it's like, but that normally drives them away from each other. It's like so cool that you were in that place and you've had your time, you've stayed connected.
Yeah,
you've
well,
managed
I think what was amazing about the time apart was the fact that time apart making music was that it actually just brought us much closer as friends.
Yeah, that's really nice.
You know, I think we forgot we were always close, but I think, you know, we were friends, best friends, and then all of a sudden we were like colleagues essentially who were just like, you know, like
under
be here, be
pressure.
there, be here, under extreme pressure. And we kind of almost forgot to actually.
I feel like it did push us apart a bit.
A little bit, probably.
How did
like,
it not?
I know it was because I remember that when we had like captured moments of like post tour, post whatever. As the years went on, like Harley had his circle.
Yeah.
I had my circle, and then it was kind of like, you know, we would value being apart because we were forced together.
Yeah.
And whereas in this break, am I right in thinking that?
I think.
But you can also, you're probably
then,
searching for your own identity outside of Rizzle Kicks, aren't
that
you?
too,
Like you had your own thing.
We did our own. Well, we did that. We did our own side projects and stuff. But again, it was just, I don't know, man. It was just so manic. 20s generally is manic, but like add, you know, notoriety and pressure on top of that is just insane.
That's the biggest false advertising thing that I really want all my viewers and listeners to take in, that your 20s suck and just get over it. Because whoever told you the 20s are the best years of your life is fucking lying.
It's like so far.
And if yours are, screw you.
No, if they are, then you're in your 20s.
Wait, when you look
Well, I
back,
think
you'll
when
be
I
like,
was in
that
my-
was a mess.
Yeah, when I was in my 20s, early 20s, I mean, obviously we experienced it differently to how a lot of other people in their 20s experience
Of course.
it. But like, there was a point where I thought, I can't get better than this.
Yeah.
But then you grow up and you're like, now we're in our 30s and you're like, life is just so much easier,
just more chill.
more relaxing. Like I honestly don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks about anything. Like I really don't. But that's such a nice, like,
It's a nice feeling.
feeling to have
Harley,
that.
can I ask you, now this is like such a big question, it's probably hard to like summarise down, because I'm sure it's taken loads of different things, but for the listeners, how do you go from a place of such anxiety and anxious in situations like this, with a podcast, performing, what was your journey to get to a point now where look how chilled you are?
I think, honestly, like, it might be a little bit cliche, but it was having kids.
Really?
Like, having kids just made me realise that honestly nothing else fucking matters.
You have to
And
step
like,
outside
so
of
many
the
people
shit.
say that, don't they?
But it's so true though. Like I can't. Obviously, I have my moments where I'm like a bit jittery or like, oh, I wonder how that's gonna be or whatever. Like that's natural. I think that's just normal nervousness. But like once I had my children and like the anxiety pre having children, how I felt, I was terrified. But then once you just see them, and you like your father in them, you're like, honestly, like nothing. And it's not like how much, obviously I love them to pieces, but it's not like I love them so much that nothing else matters. It's more just like,
Perspective?
it's just like, the world is so much like bigger than like.
The thing you were worrying about.
Yeah, and so it's that, like, you know, I've got my partner's incredible. She's such a supportive person. Like, I honestly couldn't have met a more perfect person for me in terms of like, most things, but in terms of like my anxiety and depression, she has so much time and so much energy for it, so much
Creative as well.
patience, and like she's just such an amazing human. Do you have children?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
I was gonna say-
That's why I like hearing you talk about children,
Right, 'cause I
because
was-
my husband would love children like now, like yesterday, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of fear around.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, huge fear. Like I feel like, you know, we talk about a lot on this pod, and I feel that people are getting a little bit more honest about it, but there's so much stigma with women saying they're afraid. You know, that's not really
Yeah.
allowed. Like you're meant to, I think just because we, you know, have
But conceptually,
the
the whole experience is just, I can't even get
there's
my head
so
around
much
that.
fear. I think there's so much fear around, you know, there's fear of taking time off work. There's fear of like, you know, I'm, you know, I like who I am now. Now I think I could parent someone like 10 years ago, compare a potato. So I'm really glad that didn't happen for me in my 20s. So I've been like on that journey too, whereas like now I feel like I would probably only 10% traumatize a child, whereas before it'd be like 90.
Yeah, but everyone's
That's
going to
10%, that's good.
everyone's going to traumatize their children.
Yeah, that's good.
Like
so
whatever
true.
your situation, you could be the most perfect family ever.
But I'm an
that's gonna
overthinker,
traumatize
so I think on things a lot.
Yeah, you'll
Does it
be
scare
ready
you,
when
Jordan?
you'll be ready when you're ready.
Are you like?
Well, being a dad?
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
But only because I feel like that's one of my goals in life, is to be a good dad. And so I have to put that into practice just because I think there's got to be something about that
it's something you want.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah.
Listen, if I think enough about it, I can think my way out of it for maybe like a couple of days. But I think Jade would make an incredible mum. That was a big part of the reason why I fell in love with her originally. And I there's no pressure on it. There's no rush. But wouldn't it be amazing to have that experience of being part of a human soul and being developing and create. Like when I see, like we went to the football with Harley's oldest the other week, and I don't know how Harley was fucking feeling, but I was just like, I can't believe he's talking and he's engaged, and I'm like, wow, that's like half of Harley is sat on his lap, taking in the feeling of being at Arsenal. Like it's just
first time and like looking around.
Oh, and then his daughter and his little girl as well. She was like, she's some kind of savant, or whatever. Was like can count to 50. She's about 6 weeks old. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's just in it. I'm fascinated by it, you know, and I know I'm gonna mess up and all of that kind of stuff. But with this whole process I've gone on in terms of my own therapy journey, you obviously learn a lot about child development, and so I'm always intrigued. So it'd probably be worth putting into practice.
Were you always this kind of like enlightened, I would say, and like in touch with, I feel like you're very deep. Like, when you talk, it's like and like I say this with like full respect, and it's like, no, I do say this with full respect. Because I have a lot of opinions on, the masculinity, role models and the way that, like I say, I never saw my dad cry ever, seen Brad cry once, like, these stereotypes and the pressures. And it feels like when I listen to you talk on other podcasts you've done and on your social media, it's like you are hugely switched on and interested in that and human behaviour. Has that been something over the last few years? Or have you always been like that?
Yeah. I've always been curious. I've always been curious my whole life, and I think my mum is a massive she just fights. She's fights for justice. Sorry, she doesn't just fight. She doesn't just swing it. She doesn't swing. She actually
probably could swing it though.
Well, yeah.
She cares about
but she's like, if she sees something, she's there. I was on protest as a kid, so that kind of aligning myself with fighting for a cause I've always thought of, but it was only recently that I actually realised that looking outwards is good sometimes, but probably the biggest thing I could do to begin creating change in the world is creating change in myself, and that definitely only occurred in the last 7 years. But in terms of the discussion around men, heartbreak, boys, that's just come as a result of work I've done on myself.
On learning about yourself.
And then realising, and then when I'm like learning about that, it then means I've, in doing so, learned about society or some of the trends. And I feel, maybe there's something I can do, or at least telling people, being honest about my path can help young men have more guidance, because I didn't think I had that as much guidance as I should have done.
Yeah.
I actually thought on your second docuseries, I don't know what the title of that one was, when you were looking at surgeries.
Oh yeah, Price of
Filthy
Perfection.
Rituals. Was it Price of Perfection? I thought the episode when you did the penis size, or penises generally, was fucking brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I remember, like, I can't explain it, like that kind of thing. I feel activated by it, because even
Can I have some backstory on this? I'm really interested.
Just like you and I just clocked eyes, and I was thinking, you don't have any idea.
He does. No, because I
want to know the context, because I want to be engaged. Like,
So Olivia does. I already said,
we spoke about that.
So I was saying, I was bigging it up big time because I'm like a massive fan of your docuseries. No, but I'm sure you know that. I've told you I'm a big fan of your docuseries. Anyway, so the second one is Price of Perfection, and there were different surgeries that people were going through, and one episode was penises, but
the whole episode, was like vaginas and penises.
Yeah,
and it was just looking at, like, basically, I mean, when we were first discussing it, I was like, I'll be completely honest. I was like, I just don't think people are going to take it seriously because people get so silly around
penises. They genuinely do.
And like, there's such a disparity where we're like, it's okay to take the piss out of a guy for having a small dick, but if like, the reverse is said to a woman, whatever the reverse is, it's like, oh my god, you're disgusting, you're an animal. And I was like, why is there such a big gap where we like the way we talk about things? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we should just like stand like
standard
against body shaming generally. Yeah, no, I know, and it is unfortunate that because there's been so many years of just like unopposed shaming from men to women. I think then the shaming being on two like almost unchangeable aspects of the male experience is just unfortunate. Like height and dick size. Yeah, it's like unless you want to snap your legs for like half a year.
Yeah, and like you say, I think when we talk about men and this, it's so easy to like throw labels around and be so judgmental. But like you say, there's so much set up for men not to be secure in themselves and not be happy. And then when they're not, that presents itself, I think, in a really ugly way.
Yeah.
And if I think about the relationships I've had and the experiences I've had, well, Brad probably being the first genuinely secure male that I've actually really ever dated, who's actually happy. So therefore, he's happy for me to be happy. He's happy to see me do really well. I could never be like too much for him because what would that even mean? Do you know what I mean? It's like it's like a whole light bulb moment. Where I was like, oh shit.
I know.
You know, he has a good relationship with his family. Like, you know, he's got his own shit. He's not fucking, you know, the chosen one.
What kind of what kind of things did you experience in partners before that you're kind of referencing? I'm quite curious.
I always felt like, it's the weirdest thing, I always felt they loved me and they were like obsessed with me, but I felt they didn't like me. So I felt like I constantly got on their nerves. I was constantly being told, you're being too loud, or now you're being too quiet and your face looks moody. Why are you wearing that? Why are you doing that? Like, just constant commentary.
And do you think that was because of how they felt about themselves?
Yeah. When I look back on it, they were really like, it was all self, you know, like, you're embarrassing me, you're doing this, you're making me angry, you've ruined my day. I'm like, you know, I never hear that from Brad. Like, he would never be like, you are making me, we take responsibility for our own shit.
That emotional dysregulation, that again, that's totally not gendered, but I do think there are some culturally accepted. No, but I wasn't saying you were saying it, but it's just there are culturally accepted,
standards,
for men, that disconnection from self and that like projection of that's just culturally accepted.
No,
but of course you see it both ways, like, you know, I see it on reality shows all the time.
Yeah.
You know, just minimizing somebody's experience because of your own insecurity is not ideal.
No. But I do think that it's interesting that, and that's why I think what you're doing is so good, because I think there's like a pendulum effect in society when, say, so many more women are feeling empowered and like speaking their truth and taking up spaces in business and in the world and whatever, or deciding they don't want to shave their legs or they conform to standards. And then when that happens, that it goes the other way, and then you get that other corner, like really to give them any more publicity, like the evil people on the internet being like, I'm gonna make a space for all the men who feel rejected by women finding power to come and be safe with me. And I'm gonna make you feel safe. I'll make you feel part of something.
We were just saying this the other day, like the what I've noticed, the first step almost always of these men who radicalize other men is by convincing them that they're isolated.
Yeah,
which
you're
is
on your own.
Which
Women
is
hate
so
you.
sad.
Which fucking don't, actually.
I know. But then there'll be the other extreme that will confirm that, and these two extremities just end up radicalizing each other. Because if they're like, we don't need men are trash, men are pieces of shit, and they're like, oh cool, we are on our own, and then so then they're on their own, and then they're telling each other that women hate them, and it's just like this whole, when obviously I think the large majority of people understand that, you know, the world has to, we have to understand enough about each other to be able to just engage.
For sure.
But yeah, anyway, ultimately I think it's fucking brilliant that you not only had that episode, but also was so honest about your approach to it, because it is fair. Like, I don't expect women who have been raised in the conditions that we've lived in, it's changing, but like to suddenly have to lend all the empathy to the plight of men, like that's not realistic. But to just have an understanding that, you know, ultimately gender can be quite a reductive way of approaching anything. Like there are reasons, you know, location, finance, history, parenting. There's loads of places where we can find that middle ground. I mean, also Pete is a great example of like, you know, a man that can tick boxes in terms of what men think, but then also completely show the other side, you know. And it was cool that you spoke to him in that episode. And
But only just as well for him more recently as well. Because
Yeah.
it's like he wouldn't have felt like he could do that,
Yeah.
you know, before when the
Yeah.
character that he would play on Towie and the way he was like portrayed himself, it's like there was no space for him to
Yeah.
be like, oh shit, like I've been through some stuff.
This
and
is why
sometimes
I'm-
I
yeah.
feel sad. It's like, well, that's not like the brand, is
No,
it?
it's bad.
That's
Mad.
not on brand. Jade is now doing solo music, thriving,
Yes, thriving.
fucking killing it.
I know.
Possibility of a little.
JADE and Rizzle Kicks. I don't think they'll be like, it'll be
Third
so.
wheel.
Huh?
Third wheel. That's what the tune's
You're
really
just
called.
when you're performing, just there, like,
Oh.
yeah.
I said this before, but like genuinely, JADE was actually another big reason as to why we came back. Just because when we met, you know, she really was enthusiastic about like having loved our music. There's loads of weird history about like I met Little Mix a lot when we were young. I said a lot, like a handful of times actually, and I never met JADE. It was so weird. So I met all the other girls. And I was always like I was very vocal about loving Little Mix, but I never met JADE, and it was only, you know, the first time being our first date.
How
anyway,
cool though you have that in common, like, you know, being
Yeah.
pop stars and that whole
it really
craziness.
helps. Yeah, and it was
unbelievable.
the same era, and so so she was really enthusiastic about it happening, and so naturally, during the creation of both our projects, we'll very much be there. So Jade's already been a part of the Rizzle Kicks comeback
I
for
love
sure.
that.
You know, like it wouldn't be weird for her to be in the studio. I've been in the studio for her
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's a great advantage of being in the same world.
Yeah, and why would you not? Like you say, when you like have the same passion, talent, interest.
Yeah, and also I remember.
I think as well with Jade is like I honestly, and I know Jade like pretty well now, and like I think people are gonna just continue to be blown away by how good she is
Yeah,
as a
I was
singer.
gonna say that.
Because she's like, I even didn't know.
Yeah, well, that was-
Like,
Were you even surprised?
I was
when you-
surprised. Like, well, you know, when you're in a girl band, off it's like pop music, which is
course,
great, but it's
yeah.
like you're not showing off your full vocal ability.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
When I've heard Jay sing in the studio, I'm like, that's actually mad.
You're like,
I
where have you
didn't
been
know
hiding
that.
that?
Like, where's that been?
there was one time basically where we wanted like a texture on the. Again, this isn't like a. You know, an official thingy. It was just, you know, she was free. Oh, do you want to come down? We're doing this, making this record. And I remember we were like, we gave her like a few, maybe just this and da-da-da. And she was like, all right, cool. Record. Literally, she busts out the recording, harmonizes it like 7 times. Like no mess ups or nothing. It was like, was that what you wanted? And we were just like,
Were you both like,
we were like, I don't know if we're built for this. Like we were like, what are
But
we
that's that, like,
Just
that's
turn
that,
it
that's,
in.
you know, that's that. She's
It's
had a
it's
very,
another level, man.
Really?
a very different kind of experience to what
She's got
we
yeah,
had in
she's
terms of a come up. You know, it's like, you know, she's
you know, pop that is the
system.
example of like
Yeah.
pop star, boom, 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 work. But yeah, she's doing really well, and she's brilliant, and she's excited to watch us perform, and I'm really excited to watch her perform, and yeah, it's just dope.
that's sick.
Yeah,
So are you going to tour?
we're
Yeah.
not necessarily touring.
we're doing
You
doing
said
some
yeah.
shows. We're doing some shows.
We're doing some shows. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
kind of touring.
No,
know,
we're doing.
like-
It's not a tour.
A tour from what we remember is like sleeping on a
Loads of
bus
shit.
like for a month, 2 months.
Okay, so
and
it's
just
not like a tour.
We're
I
doing
could
a few
never-
shows.
I could never do that ever again.
What are
like,
you?
like what?
You two.
Sleep on a bus like that?
Bossman,
for
how
like
do you
2
think we're gonna
months.
tour? Are you all right?
No, I mean like for like months on end. That's terrifying. I need to go
he's
home.
I'm
crazy.
so lost. So what the fuck are we gonna do on tour?
We're not going on a tour.
Yeah, but we're not gonna tour yet.
Yeah, we'll cross that. I'm definitely
You
like.
don't sound like you're going to tour.
Boss, tour's cancelled. I think. It's not. No, we're doing a handful
Okay.
of shows. We announced a show at Coco.
Yes.
And the tickets sold like under a minute, which is amazing. It's which was just like a nice feeling to those
You're
demand.
back, baby.
Loads of messages and people who are fucking fuming at us. So we've just been biding our time.
What, because they wanted tickets?
Yeah, and then now we're doing a handful of shows: Manchester, Birmingham, Kentish Town Forum, and then we're going to be playing at a festival in Brighton. So it's really cool, and we're heading.
You've got dates
Yes, we have
in
dates.
March 25.
and you're not touring.
No,
It's-
Made that quite clear.
I'm definitely going home in between the shows.
But what we do want to say is the body of music that we've created, we're very proud of. We genuinely think it's the best music we've made. And the mad thing is, I know a lot of artists will say that because we're in this rat race and you all have to like market yourself. Never really been that type of person actually.
No.
I get a bit like, I don't know, I want to leave people to their own.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I do want to leave people to their own opinions. But you know, I'm in a different headspace now, Harley's in a different headspace, and I think the music's brilliant. And so, please enjoy that as it's drip fed out to you with a new added amount of pressure and expectation because of the speed of social media in 2024. Yeah.
Is this different now, like compared to last time? Like, do you need to get these on TikTok? Do you need
Olivia,
to dance
obviously.
going? Okay, right.
I don't need to.
I can dance a little bit. Do you want me to come up with one?
Please.
Right, I'm gonna get home tonight. I'm gonna get the new track on. I'm gonna
Boom.
100%.
Let's go.
Do you want to play a little game?
Yes,
Love to
please.
play a
This is
game.
the box of wrong.
Oh.
Love it.
So the premise is very simple.
All right.
I'm going to read you some just statements, and we're going to decide if they're wrong, right, or
Oh, brilliant.
so wrong, they're right. Taking pictures of your food before you've eaten
Wrong.
it. Wrong. I actually don't like food Instagram. It's my least favorite.
I sometimes I went through a phase of like, 'cause I love cooking.
Okay.
And I got pretty experimental with it. And so I used to like taking pictures of the food I cooked. I never post it anywhere.
You just for an archive of your
For
own.
my own like enjoyment, yeah. But I never like would take a picture of it in a restaurant and post that.
Yeah, to be honest, now I've said wrong that quickly.
Yeah, you
I actually,
went out the
no, I
goats.
send pictures of my food to specific people.
To be like, look what I'm having.
Yeah. I also, when I was younger, I used to take pictures of apple-based desserts, and I had a folder of all the desserts. And I was obsessed.
specific.
Yeah. I was obsessed with apple-based desserts. I had to say it specifically because it wasn't just pie. It was a good
Yeah,
crumble.
it's like, how many are there?
Apple pie, apple crumble, apple strudel, apple stew. Strudel. Yeah,
So
there's
we're so
loads.
wrong it's
apple
right?
tart.
Or just wrong?
I think it's
It depends.
this
So wrong it's right.
Pretending not to love pop music.
Something not. Oh yeah, that's wrong.
That's
Like the people
wrong,
that
yeah.
they're too cool for pop
Which
music.
is one of my
Wow.
least favorite
Bro,
things.
I love
One of
pop
my
music.
least favorite sayings is guilty pleasure. Just to own that you like it.
They just own it, man.
Just own that you
Yeah.
like
You know what I mean?
something.
Yeah.
So many people said that. So, you're my guilty pleasure.
That is the
hate
biggest
that.
backhanded
I'd
fucking
hate
compliment
that.
ever.
It would really,
Yeah.
really wound me up.
We shouldn't be talking more between these questions, should we? So I won't say anything. Yes, I like pop. Good. Karen.
Reusing tea bags.
What? Oh, like you pour water in after?
No, as in like you share it, like split it between 2 cups of tea.
How would you do that? Oh, like
Sometimes it's on the very rare occasion where there's only 1 tea bag left, I can make it work for 2 teas.
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's not very nice though.
Okay, not nice then.
Wrong then, I guess.
Wrong, yeah.
Wrong.
Quick fire.
Fast forwarding a film to get to the end.
Wrong.
What?
That's
Yeah,
like,
which animal
No.
wrote this?
That's listen. Someone's put that in. I don't know what that is. That's trolling. We're getting trolled.
But
No one
how
does
would you
that.
miss all the
But
middle?
who-
How would you know what's
yeah.
happened?
I know
That's
people
wild.
who will go to watch a show and then instantly research the show and read everything that happens in the show and then watch it. That's
Okay,
mad.
I
to me.
won't do this, but I did it in the cinema the other day and Brad really told me off. I turned the brightness down, but I was recognising someone in a film. Straight away I have to look up all the other films they've been in.
No.
I was like, I recognise that girl. So I was like, then I was on Wikipedia looking at everything she's ever done since she was
I have to
12.
pay attention to the film.
what film
Oh,
was
I
it?
missed loads. I don't know. Nodding awkwardly and laughing when you can't hear what someone's said
Oh my
instead
God.
of asking them to repeat themselves.
So
I've
wrong,
done
that's
that-
right.
I've done that
all
so
the
many
time.
times.
Oh my God.
Also, how many times can you ask someone, can you go, what? Before you go, Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
didn't
Like,
get
I
it.
do that more than you believe.
Through this whole podcast?
Yeah. Also, with some of Jade's lot up north, man, South Shields, that Geordie accent is thick.
Oh, you're struggling a little bit, yeah.
So like, yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Rehearsing arguments before,
What?
like practicing your argument that you're going to have with someone.
Oh, right, before you have it with someone. Yeah, that's fine. I thought you meant like,
What do you mean that's fine?
as in like,
Or like it says,
saying
it says in
say
the
you-
shower,
say you wa-
actually, but
say you like want to say something to someone.
wanna confront someone,
practicing
so you
it.
practice,
I
like-
thought you meant like me and you are a couple, and we're like, let's practice our argument before we have it.
That's actually a really good way of going around it.
bit of communication.
Yeah.
Rehearsing arguments, no?
I'm just going to skip that because my brain's not working. I don't understand what's happening. Like, I don't know what that means. So you know you're...
So I'm in the shower, I'm going to go to work today, I'm going to have a go at someone, but in the shower I'm like, I'm going to go in there and be like, listen, you need to give me a pay
I
rise.
understand what you're
What?
saying.
So can it just be in my head, or am I?
We're
Are you
ADHD, so
are you outwardly
I'm not
saying
doing it? Like it's in impulse. We're impulsive, so it's like we're just saying.
Does it mean in front of the mirror? Like
Yeah, like you're like this is what I'm gonna say.
No, you do it in your head, right?
Harley's done it clearly.
Yeah, I've done that before.
You're like, this is what I'm gonna say. Then you see them, and it just goes kind of like.
Yeah, no, I've definitely done that.
Yeah, I've not rehearsed it into a mirror.
The rehearse is sending me a bit because it's like, obviously I don't know what the person's going to say. So yeah, I'll think of the first 2 lines before it goes fucking.
But you see, you're overthinking it.
Listen, I cannot explain how much I overthink. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Yeah. I'll think of something I want to say. Think of all the comebacks that could potentially said against it.
Yeah.
Then I'll think my way out of the thing I originally thought because I've thought of the counter to it already.
What?
Exactly.
I get it.
Yeah.
Because obviously I'm living it. It's a nightmare. It's hell in here.
As we like, better not just say it.
Oh, guys, this was so much fun. I actually don't want it to end. Everybody.
I've loved it. Thank you so much,
Thank
Olivia.
you so much, guys.